The Browns Blitz is brought to you by BigPlay.com and Cleveland Sports Talk. Now here are your hosts, Rod Bloom and Sam Maddie.
And welcome to the Browns Blitz. This is episode 10 on Monday, April 22nd. Sam Maddie, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Rod. It's Mock Draft Monday. So the draft is in sight and ready to be a part of it down in Nashville.
Yeah, you're going to be down there. That's kind of exciting. It'd be a little bit more exciting if the Browns had a pick, but
you never know. Well, I think that we will have a pick, but we'll have to get to that later on.
I think you're right. I think there's a really good chance that the Browns are going to have a pick, and I think you never know. They could end up with 2 picks. Who knows? So, anyways, how was your Easter?
It was good. Nothing crazy. Was with family. Ate your traditional Easter things: ham, mashed potatoes. Didn't have any green beans. Had asparagus instead, but no egg. Why can't I think of what they're called?
Egg hunt?
Egg hunts, not egg searches. So there's no kids or whatever in the family, so we didn't really do with that. We did watch a dog show that was on TV, so that was something. Other than that, it was good. How was yours?
It was pretty good. Same thing with family. We kind of did a brunch, 11 o'clock. So good. A little quiche, a little French toast casserole, some ham. A little bit of this and that. It was nice. Just
drinking mimosas?
No, I didn't have any alcohol on Easter at all.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't too bad. So can't complain. It's nice having kind of a quiet weekend. But now we're right up on the finish line. We're coming up to the finish line of the NFL draft. So we're gonna get into it here, and we're gonna bring our guest in. We're going to bring in Dan Lukas from Cleveland Sports Talk. And Dan, thanks for joining us. How's your day going?
Hey, Rod. Hey, Sam. Doing pretty well so far. Nice, easy Monday after the holiday, which is always good. Thanks for having me on. I'm very excited to be here.
Appreciate it. We appreciate you coming on. God, tell us what you have going on right now over at Cleveland Sports Talk. Just some of your stuff. Plug your Twitter account and all that before we get down to business and kind of forget to do that. So probably a good time to get all that out there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So as Rod said, a writer at Cleveland Sports Talk, the Indians content manager. You can check my articles that I'm pumping out there. Got a Draymond Jones profile currently working on to write up before Thursday. Other than that, you can catch me on Twitter at Dan Lukas, Lukas 12, all Cleveland sports related tweets. Mostly.
Lukas, huh?
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
So
can't even tell you how many times it's been spelled wrong.
like your whole life, right?
Oh yeah.
So Dan and I have talked quite a bit of draft over the last few years, so that would be great to have him on to kind of help us out with this home stretch. And we're gonna have a little bit of fun on the show here. We've talked a lot of Browns in the last few shows, as far as Browns thoughts on the draft and what they were going to do 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round in that. So Sam had a great idea of what we could do tonight, so I'm going to kick it over to Sam, and he's going to kind of lead us through what we're going to talk about.
Thanks, Rod. So we are going to be presenting to each other and Dan our own mock drafts. I mean, I figured that would be very fitting on Mock Draft Monday, 4 days before the draft kicks off. So, I'm just sad to say that this can't be my mock draft version 17.6, but it will do with the 1.0 for both of us. So we use the site, thedraftnetwork.com. If you guys ever get a chance to check that out, it's fantastic. They've got all types of big board stuff or mock draft machines. That's what we use. And you can literally pick all the teams that you wanted or all the teams that you are interested in, or you could just pick the one team, or you could pick all 32 teams. So it's really cool. and the stats that they've got are up to date. They keep up with some different the Draft Network big board stuff. So it was really awesome to use. So definitely if you get a chance, check that out. But I guess at the end, Dan, let us know who you stand beside with their mock draft, myself or Rod. I understand that you guys are both Cleveland Sports Talk people, so if you would like to just automatically say you're going to go with him, I understand.
I'll keep all biases aside in this one. I promise.
Okay. All right. Well, let's jump right into the draft. I wish we had some draft music here. You know, there's always that dun, 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 or we both just
that's all I got.
Terrible job with that. So anyway, with the first pick in the NFL draft, the Arizona Cardinals take, and I had them taking Nick Bosa out of Ohio State, defensive end.
Asked with my turn. Okay, with the first pick, the Arizona Cardinals select Nick Bosa.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, we're both on there.
Yeah, so
Dan,
I clearly have the edge so far.
All right. Dan, at any time, feel free to jump in and kind of ask us why or whatever.
Well, I'm not surprised Rod didn't go Kyler Murray. Me and him have both talked, and I know he's not a big Kyler Murray guy, so I wasn't surprised there. I was surprised that you both had Bosa. Neither one of you were going with the Kyler to the Cardinals, which, I mean, I'm still not even positive if that's going to happen, but I want to say it will, but I'm not positive. I do think Bosa is the quote-unquote best player.
I don't think he's going to go there. I really don't. I think
it seems kind of more and more up in the air from the news we're hearing. That's all.
Especially from today's articles reading about, you know, how that it was mostly about trying to get their fans amped up from last year, get ticket sales. But, you know, the way that I really look at it, and I'll try to make this quick, is, you know, if I'm the Arizona GM and I'm like, look, we gave a king's ransom last year for Rosen. And if Cliff Kingsbury is as good as he says, an offensive guru, and, you know, can do really well, then he should be able to make it work with Rosen. So I would say let's take this number 1 overall pick, get one of the top 2 best players in the draft, and move forward with Rosen.
I think that's what makes the most sense. I just don't know if the Arizona Cardinals have that.
Yeah. Who knows?
All right. Well, so we're both 1 for 1. So with the second pick, the San Francisco 49ers, I have them taking defensive tackle Quinnen Williams out of Alabama. Rod?
I have them taking edge rusher Josh Allen out of Kentucky.
All right. We've parted ways already. Dan, your thoughts?
That didn't take long.
Those are 2 guys that you can't go wrong with either. Yeah. You really can't.
So are you plugging Josh Allen because they were expecting to take an edge rusher anyway, and Nick Bosa, their main guy who they wanted, was already gone?
Yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. I think you have to be realistic. If the Cardinals just take Nick Bosa, the 49ers could be in a spot for a trade there if somebody wants to try to go up and get Kyler Murray. So I don't know if they'll do that or not, but it seems like edge is more of a need for him. So that's why I took Josh Allen.
Okay.
But, I mean, they could still take Quinnen Williams just because of how good he is.
For Quinnen Williams, to me, is, you know, and I hate to say it, but he is just an unbelievable, like, impact player immediately. You know, you plug him in, he's going to, like, just create all kinds of havoc against offensive lines. So to me, you know, he's right up there with Nick Bosa, and in comparison, he could be the best overall player in the draft. So I think here you're not hurting yourself by taking a defensive lineman. So why not?
No, I'm with you, and I think there's it's so hard because I could see him going number 1 overall too.
Oh yeah,
it just there's just a lot of talent on the defensive line, and it's gonna come down to team preference and who they see as the best fit and who they like the best, and just kind of how things roll in the draft. So it's kind of a crapshoot. So I just kind of rolled the dice because to me the draft seems to never work out the way we think it's going to. So everybody's thinking Bosa and Williams are going to be the first 2 non-QBs to go, and I'm just like, you know what, that's probably not going to happen just because we expect it to happen.
Right. Dan?
I mean, I think you guys have summed it up. It's a very, very, very good defensive line draft. If you need guys, there's plenty of them. And, I mean, all three that you've named so far, Williams, Bose, and Allen, I do think are all pretty certain, sure things.
Okay. All right. Next, the Jets are on the clock at 3, and I have them taking Rod's pick at 2, Josh Allen out of the University of Kentucky. This has been one of the most paired to, this has been a really good pair in every mock draft that I've ever seen. So I hear and know that the Jets want to go out of that spot and trade away. So we'll have to see what happens there. But, if this is just a very straightforward draft, I think that the Jets help themselves by taking Josh Allen. As an edge rusher is something that they need. And with Greg Williams there now as defensive coordinator, I think this will be a great fit.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing as San Francisco. They'd be in a prime spot to trade, move down if Kyler Murray's still on the board. And my pick could be totally insane with Quinnen Williams still on the board, but I just think with Sam Darnold there, I could see him going with Jawan Taylor, the offensive tackle, number 3, to protect their young quarterback. So that's who I went with.
All right, so I'm gonna probably say Sam's winning right now. I like Rod's chances moving forward. I think Jawan's a bit of a reach there. I do think the Jets either trade or go defense. I think Jawan is a bit of a reach there. This isn't one of the better offensive line drafts we've had in the last few years. I don't think, at least in terms of the kind of first round talent.
Okay. All right. Next at 4, we have the Oakland Raiders on the clock. This is the first out of 3 first round picks, which is insane. So I believe that John Gruden's Raiders take Ed Oliver, defensive tackle or interior defensive lineman out of University of Houston. Ed Oliver, to me, has been rising up the boards like crazy as of recently. He's an absolute freak, and I think that, why not? Why not here? So.
Well, I can't leave Quinnen Williams on the board any longer. The Raiders are going to be thrilled that he's sitting there at 4, so the Raiders take him, the first of their 3 first-round picks.
That would be absolutely insane to me if Quinnen Williams made it to 4. That would be insane.
Yeah, I mean, if Quinnen Williams, if he makes it to 4 and that's one of the first 3 that Gruden gets, I don't like to give a lot of credit based on what the Raiders have done so far, but if they get Williams at 4, that's a steal. I do also think Ed Oliver is a phenomenal talent to get at 4. I never understood why he at one point was potentially going to be there at 17 when the Browns were still picking. So, I mean, 4 I think that's a great spot.
You guys think, though, if it goes Nick Bosa and Josh Allen in the 2 picks and Kyler Murray via a trade, there's a shot that Quinnen Williams is there at 4.
No, absolutely. We've seen stranger things happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's a guy who could arguably, be the top guy in the draft, and he could make it to 4.
All right, we've got pick number 5. The Bucks are on the clock. I think if we're going to talk about trade really quick, I feel like this, being in front of the Giants, knowing that the Giants have been eyeing a QB, but then some reports said that they really want their defensive end here or a defensive lineman. I think this is going to be a prime spot for teams to jump up and get ahead and be able to snag a quarterback here if they want, ahead of knowing that the Giants or that quarterbacks are going to start flying off the board here pretty soon. But since that's not the case with our mock draft 1.0, I have the Buccaneers taking Devin White, linebacker out of LSU. Devin White, he is just an absolute freak. Great run stopper, great defender, does okay in coverage. This guy drops back, and you're just like, really? This guy's staying with that with this tight end or even a slot guy like that? Devin White is to me, to me this year's Darius Leonard, and I wish that Cleveland was getting Devin White. If Cleveland was getting Devin White, oh man, I'd be extremely happy. But no, we got Devin White here to the Bucks.
I don't even need to talk about it. It's Devin White. He's probably I don't think you can argue he's the best guy on the board, and he's a fit for him. So yeah, Devin White to the Buccaneers.
Yeah, Devin White, another guy I always wondered how he ended up when the Browns had the 17th pick, how he could be available there in the early mocks. He's a phenomenal talent.
Yep. All right, moving right along. Number 6, the Giants. I've got them taking Kyler Murray because they're in shock. They are absolutely in shock that Kyler Murray is available, that he didn't go number 1 overall, that he didn't go at 4. So it's a no-brainer for me. Kyler Murray to the Giants.
Once again, same pick, Kyler Murray.
Okay.
Yep.
If that's how it shakes out, I can't see a way they pass on him.
Yeah, they wouldn't pass on him at 6.
All right, number 7, we've got the Jags. I've got them giving Nick Foles some help on that offensive line. Let's keep Jawan Taylor in Florida, and let's take him to Jacksonville. So, Jawan Taylor, come on down.
I am taking edge rusher Montez Sweat from Mississippi State.
You don't think that they need help on their offensive line with Nick Foles? You don't think that Blake Bortles enough or Cody Kessler last year running around like madmen?
Let's let Dan judge this.
All right.
I mean, I think Montez Sweat is a great talent. Right now, it's kind of one of those things. Are you drafting best available player or are you drafting need? Taylor would definitely fit the need for them. I've seen him in a lot of mocks at 7. I do think that's a good pick, but I would say Sweat is the better talent at 7. So, I mean, either way, I don't think
Taylor
they can necessarily
was off
go
my
wrong.
board too.
Yeah, also true.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Split decision there. Number 8, we've got the Detroit Lions. I've got them taking TJ Hawkinson, the best overall rated tight end, off the board to kind of help out our boy Stafford. Well, not our boy, Detroit's. And so, he's got great pass blocking ability. He's a good run blocker, and he's able to catch the ball and get downfield. So TJ Hawkinson, try to help out that offense and help Matt Stafford out in Detroit.
I really feel like it's too high to take Hawkinson there, but I just didn't see another good fit for Detroit, so I had him taking Hawkinson. I feel like they would want a weapon for Stafford. So, yeah, I took Hawkinson too at 8.
Yeah, I think they're going to want either Hawkinson or Faint. 2 top tight ends going very, very high. Hopefully it works out better than Ebron because we've seen what happens when the Lions take a top tight end.
Yeah.
All right. We've got a little bit of variables here, Rod. Not too many, but just
a little bit.
I'm obviously winning, but it's all right. Number 9, we've got the Buffalo Bills. Bills Mafia, baby. Who's going to be their pick? I've got the edge rusher from Mississippi State. He's already off Rod's board. Montez Sweat, absolute freak. Fantastic 40. Extremely strong, physical, get-in-your-face kind of guy. Going to finish it to the whistle blows. I think this is a great fit, and I think Bills Mafia would love it.
Well, we have a similar mindset here, defensive line. I'm giving him Ed Oliver, who's probably slipped a little bit further than some people might expect at 9. So he's definitely the best guy left and a great fit for the Bills. So Ed Oliver.
Can't go wrong with either of those guys. You really can't.
All right, now coming up on number 10, we've got the Denver Broncos on the clock. I've got them taking what their overall first-team need is, and that would be a quarterback in Drew Lock out of Missouri. John Elway has made it very public that he likes Drew Lock and has ever since this whole process started. And so, to me, it's a no-brainer.
I'm going to give him Dwayne Haskins just because he's better and we know it.
I will say, though, when you are Rod, I think, makes the correct choice. But I will say, Sam, you're making the John Elway choice. And when it comes to QBs, we've seen that it's the wrong one. But it is the John Elway choice. I do think Haskins is the better QB. I would take him over Locke, but that's John Elway for you.
It's my mock draft, okay? Elway can do whatever the hell he wants.
Denver
my mock draft.
This is what Denver's going to do, so that's why I picked it.
That's fine. I get your point, but yeah, there's no way I'm picking Drew Lock over Dwayne Haskins. I don't care who's making the pick.
Okay. All right. He has come up the boards, though, recently.
Yeah, it's no offense to Drew Lock, but we know what Dwayne Haskins is.
It's fine. That's fine. Well, that being said, number 11, the Cincinnati Bengals, I have them taking your Dwayne Haskins from The Ohio State University. Let's keep our boy in the great state of OHIO. And see ya, Andy Dalton. Your time is done.
Well, this is the Bengals, okay? Even under a new coach, it's still the Bengals. I think Andy Dalton, has a year left on his contract. They're going to stick with him. I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback in the first round. It's the Bengals. I think they're going to draft Jonah Williams, the offensive tackle, and try to work on that offensive line. It just feels like a Bengals thing to do.
This is almost like the opposite of the Broncos. Rod based this pick on what the Bengals will do, while Sam was like, you guys should probably take a much better QB than you had. So
You're right.
Maybe the Bengals will listen. I think Haskins is great. I'd hate to see him have to go to the Bengals, but I do think he's a good quarterback. I think that'd be a good pick for them.
All right. Number 12, the Green Bay Packers are on the clock. All this drama with Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. We go in the opposite direction and look at the other side of the ball for defense. I've got them taking Devin Bush out of Michigan, linebacker.
Yeah, I struggled a little bit with this pick, and I think I may have to give you the edge on this one. I took Andre Dillard, the offensive tackle. It's probably a little bit of a reach. I was going more for need than best player. I think Devin Bush would probably be a better pick for him as far as a better player. But I think they need some help on the offensive line too. So it depends on whether they're going best player or more of a need.
I think either of those picks fits them well. Rod, I know you said, Dillard might be a little bit of a reach at 12, but I'd have to imagine like Carolina. I don't know if he'll fall much further there, especially because a lot of the tackles you guys have already taken off.
Yeah.
But no, I think either one works very well. I think Bush is a better player, but it's the best player or need.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next, we head down to taking our talents down to the South. Number 13, the Miami Dolphins are on the clock. I've got them taking another Michigan boy, Rashawn Gary, edge rusher. I think this is, I contemplated taking Daniel Jones here at quarterback, but to me, he was just another Tannehill, just the younger version of Tannehill. I think they're wanting to get away with that. I think that Brian Flores is wanting to just get a complete makeover of the Miami Dolphins and will not necessarily quote unquote tank, but they're not going to win. They'll be in a good position next year for one of their good quarterbacks coming into that 2020 class. So I've got them taking Rashawn Gary and building up that defense.
I had Drew Lock going to the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm not sure I don't know if the Dolphins will take a QB. They seem to be on the tank for Tua bandwagon. Like Sam mentioned, they're focused on the 2020 QBs, but I mean,
yeah.
Who knows? Like I said, it's just a matter of how committed to this plan are they. If a good quarterback falls to them, they might take him.
I think you'll find out if a good quarterback falls to him and they trade out of the spot, then
right,
or take somebody else, then they're definitely tanking for 20.
And I don't think I blame them. I like those QBs better.
Yeah.
All right, number 14, the Atlanta Falcons. I had them taking the edge rusher out of Florida State, Brian Burns. I think adding him to their already strong defensive line, I think that he would be an immediate impact, and Matt Ryan would get to see the ball a little bit more in his hands.
I had the Atlanta Falcons taking the edge rusher, Brian Burns, out of Florida State. I feel like Sam was looking over my shoulder while I was doing this or something half the time.
I'm definitely not.
No, I know. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a good fit, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, can't go wrong. They need defensive line help.
Next, we've got another QB-hungry team, possibly with the Redskins on the board at 15. This is where I had Daniel Jones coming off quarterback out of Duke. He's been mocked in all different kinds of places. And so, I had him here at 15 just because I figured it'd be a good spot. So wouldn't be surprised to see Washington do something here.
I had DK Metcalf going to the Redskins at 15.
Wow, that's a reach. What a reach.
I don't know. I feel like somebody's going to reach on that guy, and it just felt like a possibility there. I'm not saying I would do it. I'm just saying I think somebody's going to reach on that guy, and it just felt like a spot when it's possible.
I mean, it's the Redskins. When have the Redskins really shown us that they kind of know what they're doing? Yeah, I mean, I could see them taking Metcalf. I could see them taking Jones. I don't think either of those players are necessarily that great, and that's why I think the Redskins would take them.
Yeah.
All right, almost halfway through. Number 16 now, Carolina Panthers. I've got them taking some offensive line help for Cam Newton. I don't like Cam Newton at all, so I wish he wasn't getting any help, but I've got them taking the offensive tackle, Jonah Williams, who could either play right or left out of Alabama.
I have Rashawn Gary coming off here just because he's the best player left on the board and decent fit for them. I feel like he's a guy who's going to drop down the board a little bit, like we've talked about on the show, I think on the last show, actually. So just because of production issues in college and that. So, but at this point, I think he's worth a shot, and I think the Panthers would pull the trigger on Rashawn Gary.
Yeah, another one of those things. Makes sense for the Panthers to go offensive line. They've needed it since they drafted Cam Newton. It's just a matter of will they finally do it. But Rashawn Gary, super talented guy that I don't think he necessarily got the help he needed when he was at Michigan and playing out of position a lot.
Rod, we have finally come to an all too familiar pick at 17, which was once the Cleveland Browns. It's very weird that we don't have that pick, but at the same time, I don't feel like a lot of people mind it with the latest addition of Odell Beckham Jr. to our wide receiver.
That's right.
And that offense. So that being said, the New York Giants are on the board again for the second time. They do address the defensive line when taking Kyler Murray. I had them taking Kyler Murray at 6, so they are going to meet both of their needs. Some of their needs, top priority needs in this first round, and I have them taking interior defensive lineman Christian Wilkins out of Clemson.
I'm going to call this the Dan Lucas pick. I have the Giants picking Greedy Williams, the cornerback out of LSU.
I think Rod's just trying to get some brownie points right now, and I appreciate it. No, I love Greedy Williams. He was my QB1 all year. Love Greedy. Wanted him at 17. Disappointed we can't get him there. Do think we could trade back in for him, but I mean, love Greedy. But no, Wilkins is another top tier guy. I mean, he's fantastic. I think all the Clemson guys are. I'm going to be surprised when they kind of go in the second half of the first round, but they're all very, very good.
This is crazy though to see though that we, how we both mock drafted Rod, that we could have got a corner or, Greedy Williams, Byron Murphy. We could have got, Jonathan Abram.
Look at the guys who are left.
I know.
On the board. Yeah.
So that makes me feel good, I guess. Not really. 18, we're going to help out the Minnesota Vikings. What is his name? Kirk.
Oh, Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins, golly. Kirk Cousins on that offensive line with Cody Ford, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. I don't know a lot about the Minnesota Vikings, but I think Christian. Why do I keep saying that? What is his name?
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins needs some help on the line, so that's my pick. Sorry, Kirk Cousins, if you're listening.
I'm going to help Kirk Cousins a different way. I'm going to give him the second best tight end in the draft, Noah Fant out of Iowa.
Isn't Rudolph still there?
I believe so, yeah.
So you think they're going to start using 2 tight ends, Rod?
I think so. It was listed as a need when I went through this dang thing.
Behind interior offensive lineman, offensive tackle, interior defensive lineman, wide receiver.
Yeah, but we're also down at 18, and I believe it was...
in the first round.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you heard it first. There we go.
You guys don't like the pick? That's fine.
Hey, in Rod's defense, Cousins had Rudolph, Diggs, and Thielen last year. He had all 3 of them, and that still wasn't enough. So maybe they do want another weapon for him.
No, but he needs time on the offensive line to get the ball.
No, he does. He
They
does.
don't have half the weapons the Browns have. Let's get real here, guys. Come on.
But line definitely makes more sense. I think there's a lot of pieces still available for them as well. But again, I mean, I don't know if that would be something that shocks me if they took a tight end. I really don't.
Dan, I hope you're taking a tally of score here for
He's
us.
keeping track in his head. Don't worry about it.
Number 19, I've got the Tennessee Titans take what I think is the best wide receiver in this draft at this point. And, the best wide receiver in the draft. And his name is not DK Metcalf. It is another guy out of Ole Miss, and his name is A.J. Brown. I think this guy's explosive, a better route runner, better catcher, got more experience. I think A.J. Brown is that guy to pair with Corey Davis and give another weapon to Marcus Mariota.
Have the Titans taking interior offensive lineman Garrett Bradbury?
I mean, I can see that because he would need line help. I see that pick, but
I think either works, and I think it's both like drafting one of the best players available and also need. I think that's a win-win either way for the Titans.
Yeah.
I do agree that AJ is the number one wide receiver. I'm not a Metcalf guy.
And it does say here, Rod, on their team needs that interior lineman, offensive lineman is ahead of wide receiver. So I'll give I'll give you that. Number 20, we've got the rivals in the AFC North, our Steelers. I will call this my Dan Lukas pick. Greedy Williams goes here and pairs up with gets mentor help from Joe Hayden Greedy out of LSU. I think they need help. I think the secondary needs help. And I hate it that we're going to have to team up against him and face him twice next year. But that's just how the cookie crumbles. So
I'm going to give the Steelers your wide receiver, A.J. Brown, just because it feels like they're going to need to try to replace the bad boy who left. So
you're simply doing this so the Jersey people don't have to make that much of a transition.
That's right. It's Brown for Brown. So
That's
nobody will
courteous.
even know the difference. He could wear the
That's
same
courteous.
number even. Yeah, you're right, Dan. Just being courteous.
Man, wouldn't that be something if he wore 84? And that would be crazy.
I think they'd let him do it too. I don't think they'd even hesitate to give it to him. Yeah.
Would totally do it.
And I have to say, guys, I thought I was being smart here. I thought, well, they need a wide receiver and they need a linebacker, and I still have Devin Bush on my board. And I'm like, I am not giving Devin Bush to the Steelers, so I give him A.J. Brown. But you see what happens to Devin Bush here in a couple of picks, and it's not pretty.
You're doing this you're not doing this the right way.
Yeah,
You're being smart about this. You're going off pure. No, this is not how it's supposed to be done.
I was going to say, I'll give Sam credit. He hated having to give them Greedy Williams, but still did give them Greedy Williams.
You think giving them the best wide receiver and one of the top wide receivers is bad? I mean, they would definitely. It's not like they wouldn't go after a top wide receiver.
But is it the logical pick there? It's not the logical pick.
Because that's not how they draft their wide receivers. But that's not how they draft their receivers, though.
No.
They're not usually I want to say Juju was what, second or third?
Third round.
And that was much. I mean, Antonio was
but Sam
fifth or
picked him a
sixth.
couple picks earlier. So the guy, if he's still on my board, there's potential he could get
a
there.
couple of picks earlier.
Brown.
To a team like Tennessee that last 2 years ago with the fifth overall pick took Corey Davis.
Okay.
All right. It's getting crazy. Number 21, we've got Seattle Seahawks. I've got them taking a safety out of Mississippi State in absence of Earl Thomas, Jonathan Abram.
Are you kidding me? That's the same pick. Same pick once again.
Tell you
How
what,
many is that? That's a pretty obvious pick. So yeah. Right.
Yeah, it makes sense. Good player, need. I will ask you guys this, though. Do you think Seattle is one of those teams that the Browns could trade with? I know that's not how you're doing your mock, but do you think they could be one of the teams?
So funny you say that. I've had this theory now for a while. Rod thought I was really, and I'm going to say stupid. He thought I was stupid when I brought this up in a conversation that we had. I think that this is a prime place for the Browns to come in, knowing that Pete Carroll's Seahawks only have 4 picks in the entire draft.
Yep.
So I think that Cleveland comes in here, grabs a corner, I think they take Byron Murphy. I think they take Rocky Ya-Sin. I think they could take DeAndre Baker, even though I think that would be a reach for DeAndre Baker. Taylor Rapp is still unavailable to fill the some depth at safety. I think that for maybe our 49, our fifth, one of our fifths this year, and then maybe a third next year, we could get in and get this 21st pick from Seattle.
Yeah, let me clear the board here. I disagreed with you on the compensation. It wasn't that I didn't see them as a trade partner. It was that I thought it would take more. And I'm actually coming around to where I think there are so many teams that are looking to trade down that it may be easier to trade up than what I was thinking. So I don't know if we'll be able to trade up to 21 for 49 and a fifth or a fourth. You're throwing in what, a third next season?
Third,
future third. I don't know. It's possible. It all depends on what Seattle wants and how anxious they are to move down, and how many other teams want to move down. And it just depends, especially if the Browns are one of two teams that are looking to move up. It could be. I could see it happening. And the other thing that I'll just bring it up now since we're talking about it, I could see the Browns potentially trying to get back into the first round again by looking at trading their first rounder in 2020, because to me, with that 2020 quarterback class being so much more valued at this point than the 2019 quarterback class, teams are wanting to get into that class with first round picks. Normally, a 2020 first round pick would be like a 2019 second round pick. And I would think that a 2020 first round pick right now is almost like a 2019 first round pick near the end of it.
But teams obviously got to know if they're going to do that, they're going to be trading for a very late pick, since the Browns are going to win the AFC North championship or AFC championship. So
yeah, is everybody going to believe that?
Late pick, but whatever you think.
Well, I mean the Seahawks obviously aren't going to trade number 21 for the Browns first rounder in 2020 straight up, for example. Yeah. But the Browns may be able to swing a trade with somebody for a late first rounder for their 2021 first rounder, and say a fourth rounder this season or their third rounder this season. So I could see a way where they could get into the first round twice this on Thursday if they really want to.
That would be crazy. I think that's unlikely from my point of view, but you never know. Dan, your thoughts?
I was going to say 2 seems incredibly unlikely, but stranger things, like I've said, have happened. But I do think there is a very good chance that they trade back into the first round. And Seattle, to me, just makes a lot of sense. One, because of like what you said, Sam, they only do have 4 picks. And I do also think that, especially after that Russell Wilson contract and just how much money they've had to spend and do even need to continue to spend, that maybe they don't want to pick up another first round pick, just not to really add that cap. And maybe try and see if they can strike gold later, like they have done. I mean, they built a lot of that Legion of Boom in later rounds. So I do think Seattle makes the most sense as a team to trade up for it for the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next we've got another division rival in the Baltimore Ravens. I don't really care about the Ravens all that much. I know that they lost actually that doesn't, no. Garrett Bradbury, NC State, interior offensive lineman. They've got to buy some help for Lamar Jackson. He can only run around so much. That's only going to work for so long. Teams are going to figure him out really quickly, so he's going to need some protection and some time to get the ball down the field.
Devin Bush, the linebacker out of Michigan, is the best player on the board and area of need for the Ravens. So he would be their pick.
I wouldn't be shocked if Bush fell there. The Ravens are just one of those teams that seem to have good talent fall to them somehow, and it's just happened a lot. I mean, despite the fact that Mosley still isn't on the team anymore, he was another guy. They got it like 18 or 19. He probably should have been a top 10 pick. So if they get Bush, I wouldn't be surprised. But Bradbury's a guy that makes a lot of sense for them, Sam. Like you said, they gotta protect Lamar Jackson. Rod, we've talked about it. He doesn't seem like a guy that could really withstand that many hits. I mean, he's very thin. So you got to invest in your quarterback.
All right. Number 23, the Houston Texans. They were from what I remember, they allowed the most pressure to Deshaun Watson last year. And I think he got sacked the most. They were the team that allowed the most sacks with the Houston Texans. So I've got Andre Dillard here, offensive tackle out of Washington State. I know that Andre Dillard had a good combine and kind of rose up on the boards a little bit. I think that was kind of, just because of his combine. After time, kind of passed, and here we are now. I think he's kind of, evened out of where he should be, and this is where I've got Andre Dillard going at 23.
Yeah, same thought process. I have Cody Ford, the offensive tackle, going same spot.
I don't see any way the Texans don't go offensive line for all of the reasons you listed, Sam. They need it badly.
All right, number 24, it's the Raiders again with their second pick in the first round. I've got them addressing a corner or a secondary spot with corner Byron Murphy out of Washington. Browns Blitz listeners, you all know that I am super high on Byron Murphy, like his physicality, like his length. So sad to see him off the board, but it's not surprising by any means. So I've got Byron Murphy to the Raiders.
I'm going to call this the Sam Maddie pick. I have the Raiders taking Byron Murphy, the cornerback out of Washington, for the same reason Sam has them selecting him.
Can't go wrong. I mean, it'd be another one of those things where, Rod, from our conversations, I'm not a big Gruden guy. I don't like to give him credit. But if his first two picks were Baker and what was it, Quinnen Williams and Ed Oliver, I believe you guys had falling to him. That's a home run. I mean, that's a home run so far, and they still have one more pick.
Yeah.
Next at 25, 7 picks left to go in this first round. I've got the Eagles taking Washington safety Taylor Rapp. Safety is high on their team needs, and I think that Taylor Rapp is a good fit there in Philadelphia. Let me get. You also have Taylor Rapp at 20.
I had the same pick. Yes.
What is that, the fourth or fifth time you guys have done that now?
Probably more like the 7th or 8th, but yeah.
7th or 8th. Okay. Yeah.
I quit
team
counting.
Need, good player. Perfect pick for the Eagles.
Okay. Number 26, the Indianapolis Colts are on the board. I gave some help to Andrew Luck with the wide receiver out of Arizona State, who I think is the second best overall wide receiver, and N'Keal Harry. I think he'll be able to add and draw attention away from, oh boy, what is his name? Who's their wide receiver?
T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, T.Y. Hilton on the other side. And then who's their – Eric Ebron he's with the Colts, isn't he?
Yeah, and they can use him really well.
Right. So my mistake on not knowing Indianapolis football. I think he's a great pick. Andrew Luck I think is going to have a big year. Indianapolis is definitely going to be major contenders, I think, for the playoffs. And so I think N'Keal Harry is going to be the pick for them.
Well, the Colts score big here because Christian Wilkins is still on the board, just kind of way too long. And so he's just the obvious pick for the Colts to beef up their defensive line. And they would probably take him in a second here at 26.
Yeah, can't go wrong. I mean, if Wilkins falls, that's a great pick. The Colts have been picking very, very well as of late. But N'Keal Harry, another guy. I mean, more weapons for Andrew Luck would be a great thing. I mean, either one of those picks, I think the Colts win.
All right, 27. Oakland is on the board for the last time in the first round. I've got them taking somebody that's kind of been, brought up a number of times and related to them, is the running back out of Alabama, Josh Jacobs. They finally get their guy. We knew that the Raiders were kind of in the sweepstakes somewhat for Le'Veon Bell when all that was going on. So I think that they get a 3-down back right here with Joshua Jacobs.
I think Gruden just keeps on bolstering that defense. I have him taking edge rusher Clellan Ferrell out of Clemson at 27.
It's another one where I don't think you can go wrong. I'm not the biggest fan of taking first-round running backs, but when it's your third pick in the first round, you can afford to do that. I think either one of those picks works well for the Raiders. I like Josh Jacobs a lot, and any Clemson defensive lineman for that matter.
What's good about Josh Jacobs and what I don't think a lot of people realize is that he literally only has 1 year of wear on him. You know, Damian Harris was the guy that everybody thought was going to end up being the star back coming out in this class, out of Alabama at least. But Josh Jacobs really, really did well, and the wear and tear on this guy is just a year. So this guy's got a lot of miles left, and I think this is a good pick for John Gruden's offense.
Now, for an Alabama guy, that's huge because we all know Saban likes to run those guys into the ground.
Beat them to death, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, 4 picks left, guys. Number 28, we have the the Los Angeles Chargers. Sorry.
Close one.
I've got them getting some help to Phillip Rivers so he can quit complaining and always making that bitching face. They're going to be taking the offensive tackle out of Kansas State, Dalton Reisner.
I have him taking the wide receiver. How did you say his name? N'Keal Harry?
N'Keal.
Okay,
N'Keal.
Harry. Yeah.
Learn your roster sheets.
What can I say, guys?
I think either one works. Rivers, like you said, needs the line help. They want to replace Tyrell Williams. Either way, I think the Chargers will get a nice quality player there.
All right, number 29, the Kansas City Chiefs, who the Cleveland Browns will see in the AFC Championship this upcoming season to get to the Super Bowl. I've got the Kansas City Chiefs taking their second overall team need in the corner position, and they will be taking Lonnie Johnson Jr. out of Kentucky.
You're kidding, right?
No.
I have the Chiefs taking Lonnie Johnson Jr., the cornerback out of Kentucky.
Win-win.
You see why we have a podcast together.
I was gonna say, it works out well. It's a nice win-win for the Chiefs.
On the record, like we thought about this because we were both extremely busy, and I honestly kind of forgot about this until this afternoon when Rod told me we had a podcast, and we came up with this idea. So just to be clear for the listeners, we have not gone over our picks at all with each other, or even really talked about this. I kind of explained how the draftnetwork.com site worked, and we just kind of went at it. So that is extremely ironic to see all the picks that we've had, the similarity. So number 30, Green Bay, which is so weird to see Green Bay on the board again. Normally they would be in this spot, but to see Green Bay as high as they were, picking at that 12 spot, this is a normal spot for them at 30-ish or, in the late 20s. I've got Iowa tight end Noah Fant helping Aaron Rodgers out. I know that they still have Jimmy Graham, but you never know. I think that this could be an extremely dangerous offense moving forward with a 2 tight end scheme, and then Devonta Adams on the either side. So Noah Fant is my guy here for Green Bay.
So it's okay for you to put Font on a team that's already got a tight end, but not for me, right?
It's not a reach for one, and I think that Aaron Rodgers would know how to work with 2 tight ends in an offense.
And Kirk Cousins wouldn't. Okay, I got you.
No, I don't think Kirk Cousins would. No, I don't.
Right. Just so I understand what's going on here, Sam.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to give Aaron Rodgers a wide receiver because I know he knows how to use wide receivers. I'm going to give him Hakeem Butler out of Iowa State.
I love Hakeem. I think that's a reach.
Me too.
But like you said, Rod, he actually knows how to use wide receivers. I think Fant makes a ton of sense here, but every year Aaron Rodgers gets some new great tight end, and then he just never uses him. So Fant makes a ton of sense here, but I don't know. I don't know if it would work.
Well, and didn't Jimmy Graham, he had some injuries last year too, so, this could just be a replacement as well, so.
Yeah, oh yeah. But they've also, I wish I could remember off the top of my head, they've been bringing in a lot of guys in that tight end position, even before Jimmy Graham. to try and fill that up that just have not
Yeah.
been able to work out.
The last one that really, really worked out was Jermichael Finley. He was the one, but he had injury problems. So.
And him and Aaron Rodgers despise each other.
Yeah. And then since then it was Martellus Bennett and who else? I guess.
Did they have Bennett?
They had Bennett. Remember he made that one really amazing.
That's right.
One season, right?
Yeah.
Maybe?
That's right.
Yeah.
So. Okay, guys, 2 picks left, and then we will call it quits. Number 31, the Los Angeles Rams are on the clock. I don't know how this guy fell this far, but he did. I've got them taking edge rusher to bolster that defense from Clemson, Cleveland Farrell.
Okay, it's probably a little bit of a reach, but it's a need for the Rams who don't have a lot of needs. I have them taking DeAndre Baker, corner.
I think for a team like the Rams, I don't know if it's that big of a reach, though. You know, they got a lot of things they need. It's a late first. I don't know if I'd call it that much of a reach at this point.
Yeah.
All right. We're at the end. Rod, really interested to see who you have here for the Patriots.
You want me to go first?
Yes, but let's just make it clear, so everybody knows. Team needs reads as states: edge, interior defensive line, wide receiver, tight end, cornerback, linebacker, quarterback, and safety. With the number 32 overall pick in the 2019 draft in the first round, the New England Patriots take, Rod.
Daniel Jones, quarterback, Duke.
Wow.
He's still on the board. Why wouldn't they take him?
Because I've heard that they really, really like Will Grier. Dan, go ahead and give me your, let's do each, both of us. What do you think about his pick?
Well, for that Patriots pick, you took Daniel Jones, Rod. Sam, who did you take again?
I haven't said anything yet, so I'll just critique him.
I thought you said Will Grier.
No. I said they
really like Will Grier. I will say this. I think the Patriots might be a team that could potentially move up this year. It sounds like they want to move up. I think they might. Daniel Jones, if he goes to New England, will end up being Ryan Mallett in 2 years. People will just assume because Bill Belichick drafted him, he must be good, and they'll flip him for something big because Tom Brady still has like 5 more years, and Rod knows it.
Yeah, because he's going to play till he's 84 years old.
He doesn't eat tomatoes, Rod. He's got the craziest diet on earth. He's doing something right. Yeah. He's going to play forever.
Sure.
until Baker Mayfield dethrones him. When that happens, it's over. Until then, he's still Tom Brady.
I could totally see people comparing him to Ryan Mallett. That's really good, Dan. I could totally see that.
That's just kind of like my thought process of if Bill Belichick is going to draft Daniel Jones, it's just going to be to flip him. He just does not. I just don't think Daniel Jones is good, first of all. But if they're taking a QB, I think it'll be to flip him.
Okay.
But I also think Belichick just, as soon as Brady's done, also just immediately retires. So I don't necessarily know how far down the road he's thinking as well.
So are you just making it very clear that you think this was a bad pick by Rod here?
A little bit.
All right. Well, that being said, I've got the New England Patriots. You know how they are. You could take any receiver there and plug them in. I've got them taking to what some people might say is the first or second best wide receiver in this class. They lost Chris Hogan in the offseason. I've got them taking Marquise Brown out of Oklahoma. I think you put him in there. He's going to be a dynamic guy, somebody to spread the field. And I think just fitting him with Tom Brady is just a, recipe for danger for defenses moving forward.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think another receiver at that pick makes a lot of sense. Just depending on whoever falls to them, I do think like a receiver or even, I know you guys obviously both have Font and Hawkinson taken, but if one of those guys fell to them, I definitely think they jump on it. And I think one of them could be who they look to move up for.
See, I don't think that they Gronk played, was a huge part of their offense, but I don't think that they jump up and get, and for the cost of what it would take to get up,
right,
still get an impact wide receiver that could essentially do the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, Bill Belichick's one of those guys like John Dorsey. You can't really read him, but I do think that they're going to lead more towards a skill position.
All right, Dan, Lucas, he's heard our pick. Go ahead, let us know, who do you think had the better mock draft?
Final verdict. Rod did put Greedy Williams at 17, which would have given him to the Browns. I appreciate that. I really do. But I am going to go with Sam here. I felt like I disagreed with him less. I thought Juwan Taylor was a bit of a reach, and Fant to Minnesota as well. Or did you put Fant or did you put Hawkinson? Was it Fant?
I had Fant to Minnesota.
Fant, yeah, I thought that was a reach as well. And then again, the Steelers taking A.J. Brown. While it makes sense, it's just not something. So I think I disagreed with Sam less. So I'm going to crown him the winner.
Okay, well, we'll see how this thing actually plays out, and we'll see who has the last laugh, boys.
Browns Blitz listeners, you heard it first. I've been crowned the first mock draft champion. And like Rod said, we will see how that plays out on Thursday. Dan, I want to thank you for coming on. Dan Lucas, make sure to follow him on Twitter. I think we need to make this an annual thing. I think we need to do this every year with the same group. I really like this. I had a lot of fun on this.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, guys. I appreciate the chance to compete.
Do your homework.
I'll do more homework next year. I can promise you that much. I'll know how to pronounce everybody's name next year.
Yeah, he took points off just for that.
I think I lost some points. I think I really do.
I didn't penalize you for N'Keal Harry.
All right, so real quick, give us overall grades.
All right, so overall, I mean, both of them, I think, because I think you guys both did a lot of best overall and team need. It was a good mix of that. Probably A for Sam. I'm going to go B plus Rod.
He was
almost an A minus, B plus.
He was going to give you a C, man.
He wasn't.
Yes, he was.
He's just being nice to you because he wants to come back on the show.
Oh.
Just kidding.
You guys have CST in common. Get that out of here. All right. All three of us, I got a question for us. How many trades do you think are going to happen in this first round?
I'll tell you what, if you guys are both right and the Cardinals don't take Kyler Murray, I think we could. It'll definitely be more. I'll say 4. I think we see 4.
I'm going to go 5. It's right in that range. I think you're right. 4 or 5.
Yeah, I'm thinking about 4 or 5 trades in this first round, so we'll just have to see. I'll let you all know, and hopefully you guys can catch me on Periscope Live in Nashville on my Twitter. So, Dan, thanks again for coming on. It was a pleasure, like I said. Hopefully we can make this an annual thing, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. It was a pleasure to be here. I would be more than happy to settle any disputes, arguments, or competitions you and Rod have moving forward, and I'm very ready for the draft. I'm actually, for the first time in pretty much my life, I'm not even going to be able to watch the first round. I'll be seeing Avengers Endgame, but
oh my gosh,
yeah, I'm still excited regardless.
You need to get your priorities.
What was that?
And
I'll tell you what, I wasn't going to do it until we traded 17.
Oh boy.
Before that, I was going to get like an 11:30 midnight Thursday showing, but once we traded 17, I was like, I'm comfortable with missing the draft now.
See, you're almost begging for John Dorsey to trade back in twice to the first.
Twice, yeah.
I'm not even going to be able to bring my phone to this movie. I mean, I'm going to have it off regardless, but I'm not even going to be able to bring my phone in it now just because of how nervous I'm going to be that I'm going to walk out and see, they ended up walking away with Greedy Williams.
The Browns will end up with Devin White and Greedy Williams now that you've committed to this. We do appreciate that, though.
I was going to say, if it takes me to not watch the draft for that to happen, I'll not watch the draft every year.
That's perfect. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you.
All right, this has been the Browns Blitz, and we will catch you next time.